What if everything you were told about comfort was a lie? What if the very things you chase, security, ease, and pleasure, are the same things slowly draining your strength, numbing your spirit, and suffocating your potential? There is a fire within you. Yes, within all of us, that remains dormant, not because it's weak, but because we've been conditioned to fear the burn. Today, we're going to talk about awakening that fire. Through the ancient wisdom of Stoicism, through the raw lessons of sacrifice, pain, and radical self-honesty, we'll peel back the illusion of comfort and discover the untapped power within. So if you've ever felt stuck, uninspired, or lost in a world that rewards comfort over courage, this is your wake-up call. We live in an age where comfort is not only desired, it's worshipped. From climate-controlled rooms to fast food, from endless scrolling to avoiding discomfort at all costs, we are bombarded with tools and distractions designed to make our lives easier. But here's the hard truth. A life spent chasing comfort often leads to inner decay. The Stoics, those ancient warriors of the mind, understood this long before our modern luxuries ever existed. They knew that the path to greatness wasn't paved in silk, but in fire, forged through discipline, adversity, and intentional struggle. Today, we dive into the Stoic mindset and explore how sacrificing comfort doesn't mean living miserably. It means awakening the raw, untamed power that lives inside you. This video isn't just a lesson in philosophy, it's an invitation to transform your life by rethinking what you value, how you react, and what you choose to endure. And by the end of this journey, you may find that the very thing you've been avoiding, discomfort, is actually the path to the version of yourself you've always wanted to become. Section 1. Embrace discomfort, the first step to awakening inner power. The Stoics believed that growth doesn't come in spite of discomfort, it comes through it. Think about a muscle. To grow stronger, it must be torn, challenged, and rebuilt. Your mind and your spirit operate the same way. Marcus Aurelius, the philosopher emperor, wrote in his journal, "Meditations, the impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." He wasn't offering poetic comfort, he was revealing a brutal truth. When life hits you hard, you're being handed an opportunity to forge resilience. Most people run from hard things. They avoid tough conversations, early mornings, physical challenges, emotional pain. But the Stoic doesn't run, they lean in. To embrace discomfort means waking up early when you'd rather sleep in, choosing the cold shower over warm indulgence, saying no to the easy route, and yes to the path that scares you just enough. Because that path, the one lined with resistance, is the one that shapes you. It's no surprise that the warriors of ancient times trained in winter conditions, fasted regularly, and practiced voluntary hardship. They weren't masochists, they were preparing. They knew that when true challenges came, as they always do, it wouldn't be luxury that saved them. It would be their grit. Discomfort reveals what comfort hides: your limits, your fears, and your hidden strength. But only if you're willing to feel the burn instead of fleeing from it. Section 2. Discipline over emotion. Mastering the self through rational action. Discipline is not about punishment, it's about freedom. And in Stoic philosophy, discipline is the cornerstone of true power. It's what separates the emotionally reactive from the intentionally grounded. Epictetus, a former slave turned philosopher, taught that we must distinguish between what we can control and what we cannot, and that self-mastery begins with mastering that distinction. In a world fueled by emotional impulse, tweets, rage, desire, outrage, discipline is rebellion. It is the art of responding rather than reacting. Think about it. How often do we let our moods dictate our behavior? How often does fear stop us from acting, or pleasure lure us away from our goals? The disciplined mind doesn't bow to emotion. It acknowledges it but chooses action rooted in values, not vibes. This is why the Stoics practiced journaling, meditation, reflection. They were training the mind to lead, not follow. Discipline means doing what must be done, whether you feel like it or not. It means delaying gratification, setting boundaries, waking up with purpose, and going to bed with integrity. In modern terms, discipline is choosing the gym over Netflix, silence over needless drama, purpose over popularity. It is saying, "This is who I want to become," and living in alignment with that vision even when it's hard, especially when it's hard. The Stoics knew that a man ruled by emotion is a slave, but a man ruled by reason is free. Section 3. Voluntary sacrifice, trading comfort for purpose. There's a difference between suffering that destroys and suffering that refines. Voluntary sacrifice, the Stoic kind, is not about deprivation for its own sake. It's about choosing to give up what's easy in pursuit of what's meaningful. Seneca, the Roman statesman and Stoic thinker, was one of the wealthiest men in Rome, yet he regularly practiced poverty. He would eat simple food, wear rough clothing, and sleep on the floor. Why? Because he wanted to be prepared not just materially, but mentally. He believed that by choosing discomfort, he could train his mind to handle real hardship when it came. And it always comes. The lesson here is not to romanticize suffering, but to understand its utility. By sacrificing comfort intentionally, we build the muscle of resilience. We learn that we can endure more than we think. We shed the illusion that luxury equals strength. Look around today. So many people are unhappy not because they have too little, but because they are disconnected from purpose. They've traded growth for pleasure. Voluntary sacrifice flips that. It says, "I will give up this temporary comfort to become someone greater. I will fast. I will train. I will choose stillness over distraction, not because I must, but because I can." That choice is power. And over time, those small acts of sacrifice compound into a life of meaning, direction, and quiet strength. The fire within isn't sparked by what we accumulate. It's sparked by what we're willing to release. Section 4. The modern myth of constant ease, a Stoic rebuttal to comfort culture in today's culture. Pain is seen as a problem and comfort as the goal. But the Stoics would challenge this worldview with fierce clarity. We are taught to avoid discomfort at all costs. There's a pill for every pain, a distraction for every moment of boredom, a shortcut for every struggle. But what happens when we remove every obstacle? We grow weak. The Stoic path isn't about seeking suffering, but it's about rejecting the myth that ease equals happiness. In fact, many who live the most comfortable lives are also the most anxious, restless, and dissatisfied. Why? Because the soul craves challenge. The psyche wants purpose. A life without challenge is like a sword that's never drawn it rusts. Some modern thinkers even argue that comfort is a form of control, a way to pacify people into complacency. The Stoics, were they alive today, would say, Resist that control. Choose your struggle. Reclaim your power by rejecting the seduction of ease. Because when you choose challenge, you choose growth. When you choose sacrifice, you choose strength. The modern world may mock this as outdated, even extreme. But look at the people who live with fire in their eyes and unshakable peace in their hearts. They're the ones who walk the Stoic Path. They're the ones who suffer with purpose and live with intention. Section 5. Control the inner dialogue, rewriting the narrative of suffering every moment of your life. A conversation is happening inside your mind. It's not loud. No one else hears it, but it shapes everything. The Stoics understood that our perception of suffering is more powerful than the suffering itself. We suffer more in imagination than in reality, Seneca wrote, piercing through the centuries with a truth many still haven't grasped. Most people don't live in the present pain, they live in the fear of pain. They replay past traumas and pre-live future disasters, creating a cycle of inner chaos that never lets them rest. But the Stoic doesn't give that voice full control. He questions it. He trains it. He rewrites the narrative. Because if you can control your inner dialogue, you can control your life. That voice that tells you you're not good enough, that you'll fail, that you're not strong enough to bear this, that voice isn't you. It's a story, and like all stories, it can be edited. The Stoic approach is not to suppress thoughts, but to challenge them. When discomfort arrives, when sacrifice hurts, the mind will scream, "Why me?" The Stoic answers, "Why not me?" And when fear says, "You can't handle this," the Stoic responds, "I already am." This level of mental discipline doesn't come overnight, but it begins with awareness. Start by noticing how you speak to yourself when things get hard. Replace panic with presence. Replace doubt with reason. Because the greatest battles aren't out there, they're inside. And until you master your own narrative, you'll be ruled by it. Section 6. Stillness is power, the art of internal fortitude in a world obsessed with speed, noise, and reaction. Stillness is radical. The Stoics, despite living in turbulent times of war, exile, and betrayal, consistently returned to a practice of inner calm. Why? Because they knew that chaos outside means nothing if peace resides within. Stillness is not passivity. It's not withdrawal from life. It's power under control. Think of a storm. Strongest part is the center of the eye where stillness reigns. The Stoics made that their goal. In moments of chaos, instead of reacting emotionally, they paused, breathed, and responded with clarity. Marcus Aurelius ruled an empire while facing plagues, wars, and betrayal. Yet his journal reflects a man calm, grounded, and deeply thoughtful. That stillness came not from the absence of pressure, but from inner mastery. In your own life, stillness means stepping back from emotional reactions. It means observing your impulses before acting on them. It means grounding yourself every morning through journaling, breathwork, meditation, prayer, whatever aligns with your soul. Stillness allows you to lead yourself when the world tries to lead you. It creates a buffer between stimulus and response, between the hit and your reaction. That buffer is where growth lives. And over time, stillness becomes not just a tool, but a way of being. You start to notice things others miss. You act with intention. You speak with purpose. Because while others are consumed by noise, you move from silence, and that's where true power speaks. Section 7. Death as motivation, the Stoic reminder of urgency. There's one truth none of us can escape. We will die. The Stoics didn't run from this. They embraced it. Memento mori, remember that you must die, was not a morbid fixation, but a sacred compass. It reminded them that time is short, and comfort is a thief of that precious time. Imagine living every day with the awareness that this could be your last. Would you still waste it scrolling mindlessly? Complaining? Numbing yourself with distractions? The Stoic doesn't fear death, he uses it. He wakes up with urgency. He chooses his actions with care. He doesn't wait for the perfect moment to live with purpose. He knows that moment may never come. Seneca said, "It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste a lot of it." Comfort makes us forget that we're mortal. It whispers, "You have time," and we believe it until we don't. But when you carry death as a quiet companion, you sharpen your focus. You stop postponing growth. You stop fearing discomfort. Because suddenly, today matters. The workout, the tough decision, the conversation you've been avoiding, it all becomes urgent, sacred. The fire within you is fueled by this awareness. And the man who remembers he's going to die is the man most fully alive. Section 8. Build a fortress with an emotional immunity and mental armor. Life is unpredictable. People will hurt you, plans will fall apart, and sometimes things will collapse with no warning. The Stoics never promised immunity from pain, but they did promise preparation. Stoicism is about building an internal fortress, one so strong that no external storm can shatter it. How do you build that fortress? First, by understanding that emotions aren't facts. They're visitors. You acknowledge them, but you don't let them redecorate your home. Second, by detaching your peace from external validation. Your worth is not tied to praise, money, or outcomes. It's rooted in your character. The Stoic doesn't crumble when rejected, nor does he swell with pride when applauded. He stays centered. This emotional immunity is not cold-heartedness, it's strength. It means you care, but you're not controlled. You feel, but you're not enslaved. The world teaches you to react to every insult, every failure, every loss. But the Stoic trains his mind like a warrior trains his body. He prepares not just for if pain comes, but when it comes. He doesn't pray for an easy life. He prays for the strength to endure a hard one. Over time, this inner strength becomes visible. People sense it. They feel safer around you. Not because you're perfect, but because you're anchored. And in a world full of storms, that kind of stability is rare and powerful. Section 9. The fire is forged daily, choosing the Stoic path again and again. Here's the final truth. The Stoic path is not a one-time decision. It's a daily commitment. Sacrificing comfort and awakening inner power isn't a weekend project. It's a lifestyle. Every day, life will tempt you with the easy option, the soft pillow, the shortcut, the silence of avoidance. And every day, you must choose the harder path. The path of integrity. The path of action. The path of fire. This is where most people give up, not because they're weak, but because they expect the fire to be automatic. It's not. It must be tended like a sacred flame. That means setting rituals, checking in with yourself, holding yourself accountable, journaling your thoughts, reflecting on your actions, asking, did I live by my values today? Did I run from the discomfort or walk into it? Did I grow? It means catching yourself when you fall into comfort's trap and choosing again. The Stoics didn't claim perfection, they practiced progress. Every day is a forge. Every challenge is a hammer. And you are the sword being sharpened, not for battle with others, but for battle within. So, when you feel tired, when the fire dims, remember, you don't need to feel strong to act strong. You just need to act, one moment at a time. Because strength isn't who you are, it's who you become through repeated sacrifice, chosen purpose, and relentless discipline. And that is how the fire stays lit. So what have we learned from the fire within? First, that discomfort is not our enemy. It's our greatest teacher. Embracing it, rather than running from it, unlocks levels of strength we didn't know we had. Second, that discipline is the vehicle of true freedom, and that through the mastery of our impulses, we unlock mastery over our lives. Third, that voluntary sacrifice, intentionally giving up what's easy for what's meaningful, can radically reshape not only who we are, but how we live. And finally, we see that the comfort we've been sold isn't comfort at all, it's a quiet cage. The Stoics knew that the path to peace wasn't lined with luxury. It was forged through fire, tested by trials, and walked by those brave enough to face themselves. So now, I leave you with a challenge. What comfort are you willing to sacrifice to awaken your power? What part of your life needs less ease and more meaning? Comment below. Share your thoughts. Subscribe if this message resonated. And if you know someone trapped in the illusion of comfort, send this to them. Let them feel the fire. Let them remember what it means to truly live. Because the Stoic path is not for everyone, but for those who walk it. It leads to a power the world cannot take away. I'll leave you with this. Real strength isn't loud. It's not boastful. It's quiet, steady, and forged in moments no one sees. It's in the early morning alarm you don't ignore, the temptation you resist, the goal you stay true to even when no one claps for you. That's where the fire lives. That's where the Stoic thrives. Sacrifice comfort. Awaken power. Walk the path.